Hi, sweetheart. Grandpa Birch here. Hey, all right, everyone. Who's ready for another story time? I've got one today. Today's is Curious George by H.J. Ray. Curious George. Ooh, this is George. He lived in Africa. He was a good little monkey and always very curious. That's George. One day, George saw a man. He had on a large yellow hat. Hey, there he is up here. The man saw George too. What a nice little monkey, he thought. I would like to take him home with me. He put his hat on the ground, and of course, George was curious. He came down from the tree to look at the large yellow hat. He's coming to look at the hat. The hat bit on the man's head. George thought it would be nice to have it on his own head. He picked it up and put it on. Do you see? Do you see him putting the hat on? The hat covered George's head. He couldn't see. The man picked him up quickly and popped him in a bag. George was caught. Oh no! George was in a bag. That man with the yellow hat. Was he a good man? The man with the big yellow hat put George into a little boat, and a sailor rowed them both across the water to a big ship. George was sad, but he was still a little curious. What's going on here? What's going on? On the big ship, things began to happen. The man took off the bag. George sat on a little stool, and the man said, George, I'm going to take you to a big zoo in a big city. You'll like it there. Now run along and play, but don't get into trouble. George promised to be good, but it's easy for little monkeys to forget. On the deck, he found some seagulls. He wondered how they could fly. He was very curious. Finally, he had to try. It looked easy, but he didn't have wings. What would happen if you're up on the boat and you try to fly off the boat with no wings? Oh, what happened? First this and then this. Oh, he fell off the boat and fell in the water. Oh no! Do monkeys like water? I don't know. Where's George? The sailors looked and looked. At last they saw him struggling in the water and almost all tired out. Oh my! Man overboard, the sailors cried, as they threw him a life belt. George caught it and held on. At last he was safe on board. Blip. He threw up all the water and the fish as they pulled him on board. Blip. After that, George was more careful. To be good monkey, He was careful to be good monkey until at last the long trip was over. George said goodbye to the kind sailors, and he and the man with the yellow hat walked off the ship onto the shore and into the city to the man's house. There they go. Come back again. See you soon. After a good meal and a good pipe, George felt very tired. He's eating, he's smoking his pipe, and he's tired now. He crawled into bed and fell asleep at once. He's asleep. The next morning, the man telephoned the zoo. George watched him. He was fascinated. Then the man went away. George was curious. He wanted to telephone too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, what fun! He's just dialing away. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-ling. George had telephoned the fire station. The firemen rushed to the telephone. Hello? Hello, they said. But there was no answer. Then they looked for the signal on the big map that showed where the telephone call had come from. They didn't know that it was George. They thought it was a real fire. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. There it is. There's the fire. So the firemen, hurry, hurry, hurry. The firemen jumped on the fire engines and onto the hook and the ladders. Ding-a-ling-a-ling, ding-dong, ding-dong. Everyone out of the way. Hurry, hurry, hurry. We got to save that house. Got to save that person. And there they go. Look at them go. Look at them go. The firemen rushed into the house. They opened the door. No fire! Only a naughty little monkey. Oh, catch him, they cried. George tried to run away. He almost did, but he got caught in the telephone wire, and he got caught in the telephone wire. They caught him. The firemen caught the monkey. I didn't know they were monkey catchers. A thin fireman caught one arm, and a fat fireman caught the other. You fooled the fire department, they said. We will have to shut you up, where you can't do any more harm. They took him away and shut him in a prison. Oh my, they shut him in a prison, away from the nice house and the nice food and the nice beds. What's he gonna do? Oh my, what's he gonna do? George wanted to get out. He climbed up to the window to try the bars. Just then the watchman came in. He got on the wooden bed to catch George, but he was too big and heavy. The bed tipped up and the watchman fell over, and quick as lightning, George ran out through the open door. Ah! He tried to get him off the bed, and the bed flipped as he stood on it, and George ran out the door. He hurried through the building and out to the roof, and then he was lucky to be a monkey. He walked out on the telephone wires, quickly and quietly, over the guard's head. See the guard? George walked away. He was free. Down in the street outside the prison wall stood a balloon man. A little girl bought a balloon for her brother. George watched. He was curious again. What is that? He felt he must have a bright red balloon. He reached over and tried to help himself. But, what do you think George did? Instead of one balloon, the whole bunch broke loose. In an instant, the wind whistled them all away. And with them went George, holding tight with both hands. Yahoo! He's away. Give me back my balloons. Goodness, there goes George. Up he sailed, higher and higher. The houses looked like toy houses, and the people like dolls. George was frightened. He held on very tight. I ain't gonna let this go, it's too far down. Do you see George flying over the houses? At first the wind blew in great gusts. Then it quietened. Finally it stopped blowing altogether. George was very tired. Down he went, bump to the top of a traffic light. Do you see the traffic light? Everyone was surprised. The traffic got all mixed up. George didn't know what to do. And then he heard someone call, "George!" He looked down and he saw his friend, the man with the big yellow hat. "George, where are you? There you are, George! What are you doing up there?" George was very happy. The man was happy too. George slid down the post, and the man with a big yellow hat put him under his arm. And then he paid the balloon man for all the balloons that George had taken. And then George and the man climbed into the car, and at last away they went. And there they go with the balloons hanging out. They went to the zoo. What a nice place for George to live. And there he is in the zoo with the balloons. And he tied the balloons to everyone too. And that's the end of the book. What did you think about Curious George? All right, bye for now. And remember, Grandpa loves you.